Listen to me. Right now, there is a voice inside you, a voice you keep ignoring. It screams every night before you sleep. It whispers when you scroll endlessly. Wasting your life, it asks you, is this it? Is this who you're meant to be? Deep down, you know the truth. You are not living. You are surviving. You are trapped in a cage that you built with your own hands. A cage called comfort zone. And every day you stay there, a piece of you dies. But let me tell you something. Comfort is the most dangerous prison in the world. Because it doesn't kill you fast. It kills you slowly, quietly. Until one day you wake up and it's too late. So hear me now. This is your moment, your line in the sand, do or die. Because you only get one shot at this life. And if you spend it hiding, afraid, clinging to comfort, you will never know the fire inside you. Leaving your comfort zone will hurt. It will break you. It will scare you. But it will also transform you. You say you want success. You say you want freedom. You say you want greatness. Then prove it. Step into the unknown. Face the fear. Take the risk. That is where life begins. Here are 5 truths you must tattoo on your heart. Comfort kills dreams. Fear is a compass. Growth lives in the unknown. Pain is proof you're alive. Action changes everything. Remember this, your comfort zone is not safe. It is a slow death. The real danger is doing nothing. So I'm asking you, no, I'm begging you, wake up, get up, break the chains. Do the thing you've been afraid to do. Chase the dream you've buried. Speak the words you've swallowed. Become the person you were meant to be. The world does not need another soul hiding in comfort. The world needs you. So stand up, step out, burn the bridges behind you, do or die. This is the moment that separates the living from the merely existing. Now go. Leave your comfort zone and never, ever look back. Comfort kills dreams. Comfort feels safe. It feels warm. It feels familiar. But beneath that softness hides the greatest danger you will ever face. Comfort doesn't destroy you in one violent blow. It doesn't announce itself as the enemy. It lulls you to sleep. It whispers, stay here. Don't move. You're fine. And while you sit there, wrapped in that illusion of safety, time is slipping. Opportunities are passing. Life is moving without you. Dreams do not die because they are impossible. They die because people trade them for comfort. Think about it. Every person you admire, every legend you look up to, every hero whose story inspires you, do you think they built their legacy from a couch? Do you think they chased their vision while clinging to ease and convenience? No, they bled for it. They risked for it. They walked into the unknown while everyone else stayed where it was safe. A comfort kills dreams because it teaches you to settle. It convinces you that good enough is enough. You tell yourself, at least I have a job. At least I'm not struggling. At least I'm okay. But dreams are not born from okay. Dreams demand obsession. They demand courage. They demand that you step where your legs shake and your heart pounds. And comfort will never let you go there. The danger of comfort is not in the present, it's in the future. Today you feel fine. Today you can smile and say, I'll try tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And before you know it, a decade has passed. Comfort has stolen your time. Comfort has stolen your fire. Comfort has stolen your destiny. And the cruelest part, you won't even notice until it's too late. Comfort kills dreams because it makes pain the enemy. You run from discomfort, from rejection, from failure. But what if pain is not the enemy? What if pain is the doorway? Every bruise, every scar, every fall, these are not signs of weakness. They are proof you're alive, proof you're moving, proof you're reaching for something bigger. Comfort shields you from pain, but in doing so, it also shields you from growth. Look around. The world is filled with people who once had fire in their eyes. Children who dreamed of becoming astronauts, artists, leaders, creators. But somewhere along the way, comfort whispered to them, be realistic, be practical, stay safe. And so they shrank, they folded. They traded their passion for a paycheck, their vision for validation, their soul for security. Comfort didn't stab them. Comfort smothered them slowly until their dream became nothing but a faint memory. And maybe you're there right now. Maybe you have a dream burning inside you. Maybe you think about it every night before you fall asleep. But every morning, comfort pulls you back. It tells you it's too risky, too late, too hard, too uncertain. And so you wait, you stall, you postpone, until one day you realize your dream is gone, not because it was impossible, but because you chose comfort over courage. Comfort kills dreams because it is seductive. It tells you that you can have tomorrow. It tells you that the time will be right later. But dreams don't wait. Time doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. And comfort will make sure you never move, never fight, never rise. Comfort doesn't care about your dreams. Comfort only cares about keeping you still. Fear is a compass. Fear is not the enemy you've been taught to believe it is. Fear is not the wall blocking your path. It is the sign pointing the way. The very thing you are most afraid of often hides the very thing you need most. Fear doesn't mean stop. Fear means look closer. Fear means this way. Think about it. Why do you fear public speaking? Because somewhere inside you, you know your voice has power. Why do you fear failure? Because you know success lives on the other side of it. Why do you fear rejection? Because you crave connection, love, and validation more than anything. Fear only shows up where something truly matters. You don't feel fear when you're wasting time. You don't feel fear when you're settling. You feel fear when something has the potential to change your life. Fear is a compass because it reveals your direction. The bigger the fear, the more important the destination. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. If the thought of chasing it doesn't make your stomach twist, then it's not worth the fight. Fear marks the territory where your growth is waiting. But most people run from it. They see fear and they turn away. They take the easy road, the safe road, the road where nothing changes. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, why their life feels small, why their dreams keep slipping away. It's because they misread the compass. Fear wasn't telling them to stop. It was telling them to go. When you feel fear, your body is trying to prepare you for battle. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your breath quickens. That's not weakness. That's readiness. That's your body fueling you for the leap. And yet most of us mistake that energy for a warning. We call it anxiety, dread, panic. But in truth, it's fuel. The same fuel that warriors, leaders, and visionaries have always used to break barriers. Fear is a compass because it points directly at your limits. Wherever you are most afraid, that is where you are standing on the edge of your own boundaries. And beyond that edge, growth, strength, power, freedom, the life you've been waiting for. You cannot expand without stepping into fear. You cannot evolve without facing the things that make you tremble. Fear is not a signal to retreat. It is a signpost saying, here lies your next breakthrough. Ask yourself, where do you feel fear right now? Is it starting that business? Is it leaving the job that's killing your soul? Is it speaking your truth to someone you love? Is it stepping into the unknown when everything inside you craves security? That fear is not a curse, it is a map. And if you ignore it, you will wander aimlessly. If you follow it, you will find your path. Every great story you've ever heard is a story of someone walking toward fear, not away from it. The soldier who enters the battlefield, the artist who risks ridicule, the entrepreneur who bets everything, the person who dares to love after heartbreak. These are not people without fear. These are people who recognized fear for what it truly is: guidance. Fear is a compass because it strips away the unimportant. When you are afraid, you suddenly see what matters most. You don't fear losing things that mean nothing. You fear losing what could change everything. That clarity is priceless. That clarity shows you what you truly value, what you are meant to pursue, what your soul is hungry for. And here's the truth: fear never disappears. You can't erase it. You can't outrun it. You can only choose what to do with it. You can let it chain you, or you can let it guide you. You can shrink under its weight, or you can rise in its direction. Fear will always be there, but so will the choice of how you respond to it. Fear is a compass. It will not always lead you to what is easy, but it will always lead you to what is real. Fear will not show you comfort, but it will always show you where your courage is waiting. Fear will not hand you certainty, but it will always reveal where your destiny begins. Growth lives in the unknown. The unknown terrifies you. It unsettles you. It makes your chest tighten and your thoughts race. We are wired to crave certainty, to hold on to what we know, to cling to the familiar. But certainty does not transform you. Familiarity does not stretch you. Safety does not make you grow. Growth only begins when you step into the territory where nothing is guaranteed, where the outcome is uncertain, where you cannot predict what happens next. Think about your life right now. Every skill you have, every experience you carry, every victory you've won, it all came from once stepping into something you didn't know. You weren't born walking. You weren't born speaking. You weren't born knowing how to navigate heartbreak, failure, or opportunity. You entered the unknown, and in that space, you learned. The first time you rode a bike, you didn't know if you would fall. The first time you spoke in front of others, you didn't know if they would laugh. The first time you took a chance on anything, you had no guarantees. And yet, it was precisely in those moments that you grew. Growth lives in the unknown because the unknown demands adaptation. When you are in familiar ground, you operate on autopilot. You rely on old patterns, old habits, old ways of being. But the moment you walk into uncertainty, your mind sharpens, your senses heighten, and you are forced to evolve. Pressure reveals strength you didn't know you had. Struggle pulls out courage you never thought existed. Unknown environments activate hidden versions of you that would never awaken if you stayed comfortable. The unknown is where fear and possibility collide. That collision is uncomfortable, yes, but it's also where transformation takes place. Too many people run from it. They stick to what they know: the same job, the same circle, the same routines, the same excuses. They convince themselves it's stability, when in reality, it's stagnation. Stagnation feels safe in the short term, but over time it suffocates you. You are not meant to stay the same. You are meant to evolve. And the unknown is the forge where evolution happens. Growth lives in the unknown, because that's where your limits are tested. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking out at a vast ocean. Behind you is everything familiar, everything predictable. In front of you is everything uncertain, everything unexplored. Most people step back. They turn around and settle. But the few who leap, the ones who embrace the fall into uncertainty, they discover wings they didn't know they had. They realize they were built not for standing still, but for flying. The unknown humbles you. It strips away your illusions of control. It forces you to confront the truth that you cannot script life. And in that raw place of vulnerability, you discover resilience. You discover creativity. You discover faith in yourself. The unknown doesn't just grow your skills, it grows your soul. Look at the greatest breakthroughs in history. They didn't happen inside comfort zones. They didn't come from repeating the past. They came from exploration, from risk, from stepping into the uncharted. The explorers who crossed oceans, the inventors who challenged the impossible, the leaders who spoke against the odds. They all stepped into the unknown. And in doing so, they expanded what was possible not just for themselves, but for the entire world. Your personal growth works the same way. You will never know how strong you are until you face what scares you. You will never know how much you can create until you push past what you understand. You will never know what kind of life is possible until you step outside the map you've been following. The unknown is not a void to fear. It is a canvas waiting for you to paint on it. And yes, the unknown comes with risk. You may fail, you may fall, you may lose. But those are not the end. Failure teaches. Falling strengthens. Losing clarifies. Every step into the unknown reshapes you, even when the outcome isn't what you hoped for. In fact, the setbacks often grow you more than the successes because they carve depth into your character and sharpen your vision for what comes next. Growth lives in the unknown because that's where the future is created. Everything you desire but do not yet have exists there. The love you haven't met yet. The opportunities you haven't seized, the version of yourself you haven't discovered. None of it is in the familiar. All of it waits in the unfamiliar. To reach it, you must walk into uncertainty with open hands, knowing that even if you don't control the outcome, you will come out bigger, stronger, wiser than before. The unknown is not empty, it is full of potential, full of lessons, full of versions of yourself that you have not yet met. The more you step into it, the more you grow into who you were meant to become. The more you hide from it, the more you shrink into who you already are. Growth does not live where you feel safe. Growth lives where you are afraid, where you are unsure, where you do not know what comes next. Growth lives in the unknown. Pain is proof you're alive. Pain is raw. Pain is heavy. Pain is real. It cuts through the noise of life and forces you to feel. And as much as you hate it, as much as you try to run from it, bury it, numb it, pain is the one undeniable reminder that you are still here, still breathing, still fighting. Pain is not the absence of life. Pain is the evidence of it. Think about the moments you've been broken, the heartbreak that shattered you, the loss that hollowed you out, the failure that left you questioning your worth. In those moments, you wanted the pain to stop, but the very fact that you felt it meant you still cared. It meant your heart was still beating for something bigger than numbness. Dead things don't feel pain. The lifeless don't ache. Only those who are alive have the privilege to feel the sting of existence. Pain is proof you're alive because it connects you to your humanity. It strips away illusions and reveals what truly matters. When you lose someone, the pain reminds you of the depth of your love. When you fail at something important, the pain reminds you that the goal mattered deeply to you. Pain doesn't come from emptiness. It comes from meaning. And the deeper the pain, the more it shows that something in your life is worth fighting for. We live in a world obsessed with comfort, with eliminating every ounce of discomfort, with medicating and distracting ourselves until we feel nothing at all. But numbness is not living. To be numb is to exist without depth, without intensity, without color. Pain gives life its sharp edges, its contrast, its weight. Without it, joy has no meaning. Triumph has no sweetness. Victory has no taste. You cannot know the fullness of life without carrying both the beauty and the suffering it brings. Pain is proof you're alive because it builds resilience. The scars you carry are not signs of weakness. They are signs of survival. Every cut, every bruise, every wound is evidence that you faced something that could have destroyed you, and you're still standing. Pain is the teacher that forges strength. It demands growth. It demands adaptation. It demands you become someone who can carry more than you ever thought possible. The strongest people are not the ones who never felt pain. They are the ones who embraced it, endured it, and transformed because of it. Think about your body. When you train, your muscles tear. That tearing hurts. But it is the pain that signals growth. Without that discomfort, there is no strength being built. The same principle applies to life. Emotional pain, mental pain, spiritual pain, it all stretches you, breaks you open, and creates the space for expansion. Pain does not exist to destroy you. It exists to remind you that you are still evolving. Pain is also proof you're alive because it forces presence. In pain, you cannot ignore the moment. It drags you out of autopilot. It strips you of distraction. When you're in pain, you're in the now. You feel every breath. You hear every heartbeat. You become painfully, brutally aware of your existence. And that awareness is life. People spend years chasing mindfulness, trying to live in the present. Pain does it instantly. It anchors you in the undeniable truth that this moment matters, that you are still here to experience it. Pain connects you to others in ways comfort never can. Every human being knows what it feels like to hurt. Pain is universal. It breaks the barriers between us and makes us realize that, no matter how different we are, we all carry wounds. Empathy is born from pain. Compassion is born from pain. The deepest connections are forged in the shared acknowledgement of suffering. Pain unites us because it is the one language every soul understands. And yet, we fight it. We treat pain as the enemy. But what if pain is not against you? What if pain is simply a messenger? A signal that you are alive, that you are engaged, that you are pushing against the edges of yourself. Pain shows up when you take risks, when you love deeply, when you dare greatly. If you never feel pain, it means you never cared enough to risk losing. It means you never stretched far enough to reach something beyond your grasp. Pain is proof you're alive because it leaves imprints. Years later, you remember the pain of certain moments vividly. Not because you are weak, but because those moments shaped you. They carved valleys inside you where wisdom now lives. They burned lessons into your soul that no comfort could ever teach. Pain may not be pleasant, but it is honest. It reveals you to yourself. It shows you what you can endure. It shows you what you value. It shows you what you are willing to fight for. Without pain, life would be shallow. You wouldn't know the power of joy after sorrow, the sweetness of peace after chaos, the beauty of light after darkness. Pain is what gives contrast to your story. It is what makes the highs worth celebrating and the lows worth surviving. You don't have to love pain. You don't have to welcome it with open arms, but you must understand it. Pain means you are still alive, still in the arena, still in the fight. Pain means there is something in you that refuses to quit, refuses to numb, refuses to give up. Pain means life is still moving through you, shaping you, forging you, reminding you that you are here for a reason. Pain is not the end. It is the evidence of being alive. Action changes everything. Action is the great divider between those who dream and those who live. You can think, you can plan, you can hope, you can pray, but nothing changes until you move. Nothing transforms until you take a step. Action is the spark that turns vision into reality, the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Without action, even the most brilliant ideas die in silence. Without action, potential rots into regret. You can sit with your thoughts for hours, imagining the life you want. You can write down goals, design vision boards, and make promises to yourself every January. But until you act, nothing shifts. Until you act, you are trapped in the same loop, circling the same problems, dreaming of freedom but never touching it. Action is the only thing that rewrites the story. Action changes everything because it creates momentum. Once you move, no matter how small the step, the world begins to respond. Opportunities appear. People take notice. Doors open. Energy builds. You realize you are not as stuck as you thought. You are just standing still. Movement creates possibility, and possibility creates transformation. The beauty of action is that it doesn't need to be perfect. Too many people freeze because they want the perfect plan, the flawless strategy, the guaranteed result. But perfection is an illusion. Waiting for the perfect moment is just another way of hiding. The truth is this: clarity doesn't come first. Action comes first. Clarity follows. You don't figure it all out before you begin. You figure it out as you go. Action changes everything because it kills fear. Fear feeds on hesitation. The longer you wait, the bigger fear grows. But the moment you act, fear loses its grip. Fear cannot survive momentum. The second you take a step, the second you prove to yourself that you can move, fear starts to shrink. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking action in spite of it. Think about every achievement in your life. At some point, you took action. You raised your hand, you sent the message, you walked into the room. You tried. Even if you didn't know what would happen, you moved. And that movement shaped the path forward. Action doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees growth. Even failure teaches. Even mistakes push you further than standing still ever will. Action changes everything because it transforms identity. Every time you act, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. Do you want to be fit? Take the action of training today. Do you want to be wealthy? Take the action of learning, building, investing. Do you want to be confident? Take the action of speaking, even if your voice shakes. Identity is not built in thought. Identity is built in action. Action is the antidote to doubt. When you sit and overthink, your mind becomes a battlefield. You analyze, you compare, you hesitate, you drown in what-ifs. But the moment you take action, you silence the noise. You replace doubt with evidence. Every step forward becomes proof that you are capable, that you are stronger than your excuses, that you can create change. Action changes everything because it multiplies. One action leads to another. One habit becomes two. One victory opens the door to the next. Action compounds, building momentum, building resilience, building results. The small steps you take today may feel insignificant, but over time they stack into transformation. A book is written one page at a time. A body is built one workout at a time. A fortune is created one decision at a time. Action is never wasted because every step builds towards something greater. Action is also the cure for regret. Regret doesn't come from failure. Regret comes from inaction. From wondering what could have been if you had just tried. The pain of falling short is temporary, but the pain of never acting lasts a lifetime. When you take action, even if you stumble, you free yourself from the weight of what if. You give yourself the gift of knowing, of trying, of living fully instead of hiding behind hesitation. Action changes everything because it inspires others. When you move, when you take risks, when you chase your vision, you light a path for others to follow. Your courage gives them permission to act. Your persistence reminds them that progress is possible. You never know who is watching you, who is waiting for someone like you to show them what's possible. Your action can be the ripple that sets off a wave in the lives of countless others. But action requires sacrifice. It demands energy, discomfort, vulnerability. It asks you to leave the safety of what you know and step into the unknown. That's why so many people avoid it. It's easier to talk than to act. Easier to plan than to risk. Easier to wait than to move. But ease does not create change. Safety does not build dreams. Only action does. Action changes everything because it reveals the truth. You can speculate forever about what might happen, but until you act, you will never know. Action gives you feedback. It shows you what works and what doesn't. It exposes weaknesses, highlights strengths, and provides lessons that thinking alone never will. Knowledge is valuable, but knowledge without action is wasted. Action doesn't need to be dramatic. It doesn't need to be all at once. Sometimes the smallest steps are the most powerful. Waking up earlier, making the call, writing the first sentence, signing up for the class. Action builds slowly, silently, until one day you look back and realize you have changed your entire life. Action changes everything because it places the power back in your hands. You are not a victim of circumstances when you act. You are not at the mercy of chance when you move. Action turns you into a creator, an architect, a fighter. It reminds you that you are not powerless. You are capable of shaping the course of your life, one step at a time. Action is not easy, but it is always worth it. You may stumble, you may fall, you may fail. But every action, every effort, every attempt moves you further than silence ever will. Dreams are fragile until you act. Visions are shadows until you act. Potential is meaningless until you act. The world does not change because you think about it. The world changes because you move within it. Action changes everything because it is the one force that transforms hope into reality, fear into courage, and intention into achievement. Action is the hinge on which destiny swings, the choice that separates the watchers from the doers, the dreamers from the builders, the talkers from the achievers. Action is the proof that you are not just existing. You are participating, creating, becoming,